Hey everybody, welcome back to channel. We're talking about game. Specifically, we had a direct this morning and it was very, very stuffed with information. I'm just going to go off of my notes. I'm not going to make any cuts, just going to talk about what has happened. This could be pretty long. Um, I'm not going to go in the order of the direct itself. I'm going to go based on a sort of flow that I have concocted, general things that I noticed and picked up on and wanted to comment about. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is sort of in the general stuff area, and that's just the buildings and the buildings interiors, specifically the museum. I saw a lot of people having a lot of thoughts about the museum and how beautiful it was. And yeah, I'm right there with you. That was incredible. That was like a jaw-dropping moment for me, just seeing that. It's just completely different from everything we've ever really experienced at the museum. It's so huge and alive, I guess is the best word to describe it. It's just very nice to see that the efforts you'll put into getting these fossils, catching these fish, catching these bugs are going to be rewarded with these beautiful displays. So that was awesome. Then seeing the inside shops, like the Able Sisters shops, seeing Timmy and Tommy's shop inside, just nice to see. There's lots of great touches in there. The display items that they had for sale, just kind of gives you an idea of what you can expect will be for sale, how transactions will be, and just the general overall feeling of these shops. I'm kind of wondering, and this kind of ties into my next point, what the progression will be. We've seen, these villagers move in. They have tents. We have a tent. Everything sort of seems to be starting at the basics, like the general. I forget what they call it, but like the recreation center or development center starts out as a tent and then becomes this bigger building. And the bigger building is this beautiful sort of town square plaza area with these brick path in front of it, like a brick circle in front of it, kind of. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a sort of progression that also ties into the shops. If, Able Sisters shop is going to start out of a tent or something like that, and you have to bring them in and convince them to do their business there, or if it's just going to be a natural progression where, eventually over time you'll be able to build these shops out of materials that you have. I just wonder how we fit into that, if it's something that we influence, or if it's just going to be sort of the same old random, they exist now. Another interesting thing was the island threats. Spiders, ooh, scorpions, ooh. And then that one scene, it kind of seemed like they hinted at, like, you could really get hurt with the bees or worse. And I'm like, what's worse? Are we gonna die? I just want to know what the worst consequences are. I want to know the extent of what my injuries can be in this game. But seeing that scorpion, I was scared because I don't like scorpions, and I'm not going to like those scorpions. And that spider was going, dude. That spider, it was ripping, man. Luckily, that body of water was right there to jump over, which in and of itself was quite a moment. Just a little jump. That was cool. Then, like, the happy birthday celebrations, it was barely touched upon in the video, but I just thought it was so cute. Like, I love that. They're just inside your house and they're like, hey, happy birthday. Makes me excited for September when it's my birthday, so I can have my homies in the house saying hey. So that kind of boxes off the general stuff that I couldn't place in any other categories. So next we want to talk about sort of the customization, and there's a lot that goes into this. First things first, just kind of the freedom and agency that you have in placing things. I am a big fan of that. Deciding where villagers can place their homes. Even at the very beginning, they give you the tent and say, hey, place this for me. That's a pretty cool change, and kind of I've only seen it 3 times only. But it seems like you can either move a villager after they've moved in, like move their home, or you can designate a plot of land and say, this is where I want a new villager to move in and at a time. So I like both of those ideas. I like generally that there seems to be some agency to that. Like you can move these people, or you can take a step back and just say, I want it to be random. I like that there's still that choice, seemingly. And again, you can move your own home. I like that. And especially with your home, we got some footage of the inside of the home, and I really dug that a lot. I thought it was really cool how you could alter the flooring so it could be like horizontal or vertical. I really liked just like the way you can interact with the space and interact with the items within the space, bulk editing things and moving them on the wall. I like that there's rugs. I like all the new cute furniture, like the toaster. I noticed there was also like that little push cart looking thing that had stuff on it. There's a lot of cool stuff, and we saw some of the planned sort of expansion of home areas. I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be an upstairs, downstairs, basement situation going on. I don't know if that's something they wanted to show us right away or not. But still, we saw a lot of what the homes will look like, and I am in love. I think they look great. Just like the natural lighting in there is beautiful. The windows, it was to die for. I loved the way that I just loved all the, like, this is kind of going off the rails here, but I loved all the menus. Like, I'm thinking specifically of the menu where you could alter the color of your roof and the mailbox color. I just feel like every menu in this game is so simple and beautiful and just pops and has a life to it, and I love that a lot. I love that items that you place seemingly have like an item styling palette. It reminds me a lot of like The Sims 2. I played a lot of The Sims 2 when I was growing up, and I remember using the style palette to sort of color items the way I wanted them to be, change the look of them. So I feel like that's going to be something that's nice, and it seems like there's a lot of range for that in this game, which I'm a big fan of. I like that there's a lot of new outdoor items that are kind of like designed to be outdoor decorations. I loved the mushroom lights. I don't even like mushrooms in real life. I hate mushrooms, but I love those mushroom lights, and I love the clam lamp. Oh, the clam lamp was awesome. But one thing I noticed is that you got all these seasonal decorations. Like there was one scene where there's like an ice table outside, and I'm wondering if that's something that you can only have outside during the winter seasons, or if there's no restriction really on that. I'm very curious to see how that all plays out. But I loved all the seasonal touches. I loved watching the seasons go. I love that you can determine whether you want to be northern or southern hemisphere. That's super cool. I actually had like an internal debate this morning. I was like, do I want to be northern or southern? I was like, well, if I'm southern, I can be offset from what I experience normally. But then I'm like, well, if I'm northern, then I can experience what I'm experiencing in real life. Like if it's winter and I want to have a wintry vibe because I live in San Diego and I don't really get that, I can get that. So I like that. There's a lot of ideas already going on, and that doesn't even like touch the surface. We'll just get into it. The terraforming stuff. Like I spent most of my day at work just like dreaming about what my island is going to look like. This opens up so many doors and so many new possibilities for what Animal Crossing is. I kind of felt like when we were watching all of the old footage, all of the direct footage, the trailers that had come out prior to today, there was like a sense of me that kind of felt like everything was almost aligned on a grid system. And now it makes sense because we have this terraforming system, this terraforming platform, and you can, I called it water bending in my notes. You can create rivers at will. I'm just like imagining my home on top of this giant plateau, the only cliff in the entire house, in the entire island, with like waterfalls cascading down on either side, surrounded by a nice little river. It's gonna be hot. I'm into it. Moving away from that kind of before we go, I want to talk about the like public works projects. Basically, I like that you can use the bridges pretty close to each other. There's that one shot where she goes on two bridges back to back. I like that there's a lot of variety seems to be. I wonder if that's going to be something that they add more of in time, or if that's something that we will unlock more of. I wonder just kind of the full array of options we'll have there. We've got some new and returning character info. Super good to know. I was very, very excited to see the Able sisters. I just love them. I really just love Sable, honestly. Celeste is back. She's got the interesting role with that wand. I don't know if she's like actually involved with that wand thing that chooses outfits, but interesting nonetheless. It was good to see her. I like that the attendants and pilot at the Dodo Airlines Corporation are called Orville and Wilbur, after the two brothers who were first in flight. Nice touch. We also saw Harvey, Sahara, Wisp, Gulliver. Nice to see them again. And then the new people, we've got Daisy May, we've got Flick, and we've got CJ. I thought Flick might be a new villager, but I guess he's going to be the new bug off guy, which is cool. And then we heard about Rossetti's new role. And at first it kind of didn't really make sense to me. I was like, who's going to get lost on their island? I don't get it. But then as you watch more of the direct and you get the terraforming info, it kind of makes more sense. You kind of anticipate that there might be a situation where you could terraform yourself into a position of not being able to return back to where you were. So it's good to have that sort of fallback option to get you back to where you need to be. And I think it's a good role for Rossetti. I mean, you're resetting back to a natural progression, a position back at your home. So it kind of still makes sense. And it was just nice to hear his music again, the theme. So like that. Still waiting to see if Joan will show up or if she's dead or something. You know, there was that like meme on Twitter that was all about like, here's Joan in New Leaf and here she is in New Horizons. And it's just like that grave that was randomly in the trailer. Pelly and Phyllis, are they going to show up? The post office is now in the Dodo Airlines building, so I'm wondering when they're going to make an appearance, if they are. And then, of course, our buddy Tortimer. Where's he at? Where's he at? Nintendo, where's he at? Come on, tell me. I got to know. We also got information on like the second island experience and kind of left me with some more questions. You access it through the Dodo Airlines. It sounded like you use miles to get there, Nook miles. It looks like it's going to be a lot of money. Like it's opening up a door to more opportunities for money and lots of it. And I liked that there was a way to meet new potential villagers there, like kind of have a random encounter. Bring that sort of RNG aspect into the game that you can directly manipulate, affecting your actual progress. So I like that there's a way that you can meet these villagers there and invite them back to your town. It's kind of the same thing with the campground, but that's like more local to your island itself. I'm wondering what sort of capabilities we will have to edit this island, if the terraforming tools will go with us there, or if the permit that we receive will be something that is only applicable to our main island. I'm also wondering, back on the terraforming thing, if the permit that they mentioned is going to be easily acquired or if it's going to be something that takes some time. I have all these grand machinations of what my island will look like, and I'm wondering how realistic that is to fulfill in the beginning, if the permit that we need to do this construction stuff is going to be, kind of a far off dream. Which I would be fine with, it wouldn't be a horrible thing, but I am interested to see when we would gain access to that. And then the last question I have with the secondary island is the frequency of its refreshing, or if it's going to be a completely different island every time you go, or if it's like a daily thing. Just kind of wondering. It kind of sounds like it's not a specific island you go to. It's kind of sounds like it's a excursion to an island that is not necessarily the same island every time. So I'm wondering if it's like procedurally randomly generated or something like that. Just wondering, But I like a lot about it, and I'm excited to explore it, and I think it'll be great. So overall, this went a lot quicker than I thought it would. I thought I'd be sitting here recording for like 30 minutes. I'm not. We're 15 minutes in. Doing great. Overall, I like that it seems to be an Animal Crossing game that appeals to the every person. If you want to sit back, have the game decide things for you, and not really have a role in things, have a more traditional, population growing style experience where everything just happens around you and you interact with it after it happens, it seems that you can still do that. And I like that they are catering to the audiences that might want that. I know I spoke to somebody, one of my friends in real life, who, when I mentioned how excited I was about terraforming and being able to place specific villagers wherever I wanted to, she was not as thrilled about that, and almost to the point where it might ruin the game for her. So I like that. I'm hoping there's still an option to sort of have the experience be curated for you. But if you are someone who wants, every ounce of control that you can get and wants to sort of build out your island to the way you want it, your specifications, I like that they're also including tools for you to do that. And that's what I want. I'm, like I said, I'm already dreaming about what my island is going to look like and how it's all going to flow and play together. Plans will get derailed and things will happen that will change that. But it's fun to dream on for now, and I like that they are allowing their vast audience to not have a schism or split, and you can kind of adopt whichever kind of playstyle you want to, or a mixing of both. So that's really nice. There was like that one section where they had they mentioned you could invite villagers to come for like a play or something, and that was just really weird to me. Like that whole section was just kind of like, what is happening? I don't know what that is. What is happening? I'm very curious to know what is there. I talked about this earlier, but yeah, just like the UI, the menus, just like everything about the game looks so beautiful. Like the textures, the character models themselves, the menus, the like responsiveness. I'm very impressed, and I am very pleased by a clean aesthetic, and this game has it in spades. So very excited about that. And my last like super general thought is I don't know how I'm going to wait another 29 days or whatever for this game. I am ready. I am so ready for this game. It's, yeah, I need it now. Yeah, this is very, very general. I didn't even get really into any of the very specific things, but just sort of thoughts overall, overarching thoughts. So let me know what you thought. Let me know if you disagree with me in any portion. There are comments down below. You've done the YouTube thing. They're there. You use them. Yeah, but other than that, thanks for watching channel. This has been Video About Game. See you next time. Okay.